All right, I'm just waiting for Instagram to do its thing here. Yay! All right. Perfect. Bringing you in, Allie. It's going to take a minute for you to get in here, Allie, and then here you go. Hi.
Hello. So good to see you.
So good to see you too. I'm gonna let you. Okay, so I'm gonna add you as a creator so you can stream too.
Okay.
That's my attempt. We're gonna attempt to do that.
Yeah, I think when you do a collaboration, you can always just share them on both people's pages too.
Let's see. How do I do that? 1 second.
I don't know. I've never done it.
Let me try 1 second here. Well, it might not happen today. Let's see. Try one more time. Yeah, this is it. We're just gonna go for it.
What else can we do? There's that saying that they say to the children all the time: "You get what you get, and you don't get upset."
You get what you get, and this is what we've got. All right, awesome.
Let's do it.
Cool. So, all right, I'm just gonna do a little quick intro and then get into it. So, my commitment has been to go live every week. My guides have asked me to go live and share channeled messages, and also, I'm really passionate about sharing the work of women who are in the work and in the business of empowering other women. And today, I have Allie here with me with Align Style Collective, and I'm going to have Allie share a little bit about herself and what she does here in a second, but want to give another shout out. I met Allie in Sacred Authority, which Lauren Megan, I think her handle is I am Lauren Megan. She's launching that second round here coming up, I think next month, so check her out. The container's life-changing, and meeting Allie was life-changing.
Truly.
So, right? Truly.
Truly.
So many layers. Many layers of magic. And when I met Allie, I'm going to have you share, Allie, for a second in a minute, but Allie's a stylist. What I say, what have you been doing for the last 10 years?
So I consider wardrobe consulting.
Okay.
Which styling is a part of it, but the overarching term wardrobe consulting really helps to understand it. It's wardrobe edits, which are a really big, important part of the process. Personal shopping and styling kind of all folded into one service. So that I've been doing, it has been a decade, which feels like forever, but also feels like it went by really quick, in New York City. So that is my background is in fashion, and that has been kind of like what I have been doing over the past 10 yeyears.
So awesome. And I love hearing the stories. Her clients are just always can't get enough of Allie. It's so amazing.
I'm blessed to have some beautiful clients who are very appreciative and make my job very, very pleasant and wonderful. So it's really nice.
And I can't remember, were you ever in a corporate job before this?
I worked in corporate fashion.
That's right. Okay.
For 5 years before taking a radical sabbatical and then circling back to New York with a new baby. And that's when I launched my wardrobe consulting company, partially because I couldn't go back into corporate fashion with no daycare and all the things that were kind of like bubbling up. But it became as beautiful as all things are, very synchronous, that I got this idea to do basically what I was doing from a corporate fashion standpoint for big department stores, kind of like tailor it to the individual, and just kind of like started the business and let it grow as my son grew, and it was all really peaceful and wonderful.
So cool. And for anybody watching too, now or later, a lot of my clients, I do channeling. I channel for clients, and many of my clients are women who have either left corporate or getting ready to leave corporate and are being pulled to create and start a new business. And there really is a movement. There's really it's really this big calling that I'm seeing that many of us have incarnated to really empower the feminine. And
Mm-hmm.
when I met you, and can't wait for you to share about your new venture. When I met you and you shared what you were doing, not just previously, but now, and how you're empowering women through, I believe, such a important aspect of our lives. It was so cool to see your soul like bringing you to this next step, this next venture, which is so deep and so powerful. So I would love for you to share what this is.
So, it does feel like a next step for sure. It feels like an ascension. So the new business is called Aligned Style Collective, and it's many things. And we're figuring out that as we go right now in terms of who and what it will be impacting. But the overarching theme is empowering women through educational courses. We have 2 courses. One's the Aligned Style Method, and that's a comprehensive conscious purchasing course. And then throughout the past year, I wrote Aligned Style Method, and in Sacred Authority, when we were working with Laura and Megan, I got the idea to do Intuitive Style Maven, which it definitely has a little bit more of a spiritual, intuitive vibe to it, but it's still surrounding conscious purchasing, but with the majority of the focus on intuitive style and lifestyle planning, so that people can, if they are kind of having a challenge with their wardrobe, not connecting to their wardrobe in terms of having it spark joy or really support their lifestyle. It's a self-healing course, so it's meant to teach you all of the things that you need to know in order to build your foundational wardrobe from here on out. So all of the things that we talk about in the modules really can be tailored to each person's lifestyle and style. So rather, I think there's a common misconception with styling sometimes that it's just like people are just telling you what to do when it comes to trends. And I do think that can be part of it for some people, for sure. But I think that women in sort of inherently know what works for them, and it becomes a conversation of trusting yourself and your intuition enough to let that be your guide. So we are using our intuition as our true North Star with Intuitive Style Maven, and it really does feel like it gives me life. It's like my favorite thing that I've done all year. So
I love it. It's so cool. And when I channeled for Allie a couple months ago, and I want to talk about that in a second, but as you're talking, I'm having a conversation with my guides, and I'm like, I want to just share from when I channeled for you, and from the perspective, like on the externally, the beauty of this. There's so many beautiful layers to what you're doing and following your call to do this. You were called to do this. You're being called to do this, and it's so beautiful for so many reasons. And one of the things I think about is when I was in corporate, there was you've got the men and the women and how you dress. I was in corporate banking, so it was suits and dressy.
Very specific dress code.
Very specific dress code. And it's like, I was so not passionate about what I was wearing, and because you have to fit a certain mold, you have to look a certain way. You have, they say, and it caused me to feel differently about my work. When you feel good and you align with what you're wearing and you feel good about what you're wearing, it brings out the best of you in your job and in your daily activities. Everybody, I'm sure, especially women, can relate to this. You've had times when, if you don't feel like you look your best, it just kind of impacts your mood, and it impacts your emotionally, and impacts how you show up. And when you feel good about what you're wearing, and taking it to the next level, which is you're wearing what you're intuitively being guided, which is what you're doing, is teaching people how to, and we talk about intuition. I talk about intuition a ton. When you help people tap into their intuition from a wardrobe perspective, it's so empowering, because women, we're doing a lot of work already in our lives. We're working, we're wives, we're mothers, we're career women, we're all the things. And we're constantly working on ourselves. But when you can tap into your intuition from that perspective, it's such a unique angle of harnessing your intuition. Yeah. And so through harnessing intuition through your wardrobe, through what you teach, it's also helping to crack open and bust open the door of intuition in general, right?
Generally, yeah. I've been working on my own intuition, following my own intuition throughout the year. And I can say from personal experience that it does exponentially build your confidence and empowerment, like to continue to hone that skill of listening to your intuition, because it's always there. It's whether or not we are cooperating with it, or are there other messages that we're getting from, like, the outside world, the consumer messaging, or whatever that white noise might be that's a bit louder than our intuition in those moments. So it's about dropping back into the body and really feeling your way through your wardrobe. And when you do that, I truly believe I've seen, I've worked with 200 clients over the past decade, even before intuitive style was something that I had coined. I felt it in the appointments that I would do. And I'm an emotional intuitive, so I could do it for clients. But what I was really seeing over the course of the decade was that, like, I could also teach people to do it for themselves, and that's a huge skill set, not only for building your wardrobe, but building the foundation of your entire life. Because once you build your foundation from your intuition, from that true inner wisdom, everything else gets easier. Mm-hmm. It really does. Mm-hmm. It's almost like comical how much easier it gets when you stop fighting it. But I say comical because I've made some choices that were real doozies when I wasn't listening to my intuition. So keep it up.
We're taught from, I talk about this a lot too, but we're taught from the time we come out of the womb, really, to look externally for how to live our life. Yeah. Look externally, listen to our parents, our teachers, then our bosses and the media or whoever. That's what we're taught to listen to as far as guiding our life. And so when I channel for people their mission and purpose, and then I get to see why they're aligned, or why they're being called to create the business they're being called to create, because it aligns with their mission and purpose, and to hone into their intuition through that angle. You're teaching people how to do it from an angle of, it's so empowering for women, going back to the corporate workplace, to style and create a wardrobe from a place of your authenticity versus what the external environment is telling you. Because we're so trained to think that way, that when you stop to think about it, you realize that we're making decisions all day long based on what we think other people are telling us to do. And so if you can start with something which might seem simple, but it actually is it's complicated, which is where you come in. Start with something that we all every single day put clothes on. Yeah. Right? Every single day we put clothes on. We might not exercise every day or drive somewhere every day, but we every day get dressed. And when you can start with something so foundational and learn how to follow your intuition and take that into the workplace, take that into your life, it's so empowering, and it ripples out throughout all aspects of your life.
It really does. It's almost like you're reverse engineering your healing in a way. Yeah. Because when you start to listen to your intuition, and you also start to take a look at how you purchase and what is informing those purchases, if you're purchasing from a place of like full confidence, that is intuition, or are you purchasing from a place that is dysregulated, maybe that's trauma informed. There's many things that go into like the act of purchasing that we don't always think about. And if you can look at your past, I always say to my clients, look at your past 5 impulse purchases when we first starting to work together to get a better sense of where they're at. Look at those purchases and tell me what drove those purchases, what's going through your mind. And it typically is some combination of self-centered fear of unlovability or self-centered fear of unworthiness. It's that imposter syndrome. It's that wanting to have, X, Y, and Z. Sorry, I have one of my dogs on my lap because she was barking. But it really is like a way to to take a look at what trauma might be coming up or what narratives you might be telling yourself without having to do that like really like hard deep dive when it comes to like the inner child wounding and all of like the, you know, like the really deep healing. You can start to get an understanding at least of the limiting beliefs that you are holding for yourself and start to work to unravel those. And you can unravel them with purchases. You can unravel them with, you know, building a foundational wardrobe. And then also, you know, you can use that momentum to do it in every other area of life, which is what we were saying. So it is really beautiful. It's really beautiful to watch somebody go through the transformation too, to go from not having any like any assuredness when they're purchasing, like really purchasing from a place of anxiety or dysregulation to working through their, you know, their purchasing habits and getting to a place on the other side where they feel really good and their wardrobe is great and, you know, they're feeling really confident and it even just, you know, kind of like kicks up extra time for them in the morning to do other things that spend energy, because we only have a pie chart of energy that we use each day. So just take some of that energy that you may have been like hemorrhaging with your wardrobe and use it to focus on other things. And maybe they're just things like hanging with your children in the morning, or they could be, you know, putting that energy into a more healing modality. You can live however you want, which is the beautiful thing about healing is like you can start to be a little bit more effective with your energy, which I think is a huge win for anybody, especially as a woman who's like, you know, running two businesses and sort of stepping into my own spirituality and like taking this leap of faith, which is the Aligned Style Collective for me. Like it allows me that sort of that like freedom. It's liberation of energy in a way. So, and I know like a lot of women who are stepping out of the corporate world and into different roles. I've had a couple of clients reach out to me who are in that transition, and some of the conversations are like, now, you know, I'm not spending as much as I was on that corporate wardrobe, but I need more that I like, so that when I do speaking engagements, etc., I can show up and feel really good on stage and have that be something that I don't have to also think about because it's already sorted. So that, and I think that's a really beautiful opportunity. So we're launching, Aligned Style Collective is launching something called the Starseed Styling Initiative, which will speak to women who are making that transition. And there's going to be an application process for something that is like much lower price than any of the other styling services that I offer in my consulting business, because I really want to champion women. And that's the whole purpose of Aligned Style Collective for me, is the championing of women from a wardrobe standpoint. And then also we do brand and product illumination and having, you know, women buy as much female founded product as they can and help, you know, sort of support women in those other ways too, because it's really difficult to have a female founded fashion and accessories brand. It's almost impossible. I've watched so many companies kind of really struggle with it. And it's just like putting all the feelers out to be as empowering to as many women as possible. And that's one of the things that came through in our channeling session. One of the biggest messages that I got from your spirit guides, which is like so beautiful, was how do I take the idea of like this business that was a fledgling idea and the courses were written, but I wasn't really quite sure what I was doing with them yet, and how to really expand the breadth of who I was serving by focusing on different pillars of business. So what I looked at initially as the pillars of business for Aligned Style Collective were the Inspired Individual, which is like the educational courses, and the brand and product illumination, which I thought was really great. And, you know, we're building relationships as we go on that end, but your guides were really instrumental in giving me more outlets and saying, well, there's a corporate opportunity here, and there's also an executive opportunity here. And you don't have to just help, you know, X, Y, and Z type humans, because all of these different pillars require different approaches. There's a different need, but a need that's very easily met if it's just tailored to each of those pillars. So that's been a really exciting like, revelation for me. Like, I think it collapsed time for me. It was probably 3 years worth of collapsing time. So now I know that those are the pillars and it felt really right. Like I hadn't thought of them yet, but when the information was coming through, it just clicked. It was like, well, it makes so much sense, because from just the executive pillar as an example, I'm already doing executive styling in my work business. It's the same thing, but doing something tailored to executives that work in the female founded space who need to have executive presence, so the rest of their team sees them in the full embodiment of what it is to be like fully supporting female founders, and how that trickle down happens. It makes so much sense, but I hadn't gotten there yet. So it was like, oh yeah, let's do that. Let's do all of it. It was nice. It was a beautiful confirmation of what I was already doing, but also it was like, this like bright light that was like, oh, and all this like wonderful information comes like floating down from the ether. Right. I was very appreciative.
Yeah. So my guides, I feel like they really want me to, they really want to say something. So I'm going to tune here in a second, but, they just keep tapping on the shoulder as you're talking. But I want to say that that's what happens. So like, just like your modality of helping empower women, I'll just say a side note, we're in a time now where many, many, many souls have decided to incarnate as women on purpose. We can choose who we want to incarnate. If we want to be a man or a woman, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. But we've chosen to incarnate as women to bring back the feminine energy, because we've been off balance for so long, thousands and thousands of years. So where women are if you look at corporate, women, they play roles in corporate, but still men are holding the majority of the big roles, etc. And it's been hundreds and thousands of years of detaching from our intuition, of falling in line of what the masculine energy has been creating and driving for us. And we've chosen to incarnate as women to bring back that balance. Whenever I channel for clients, that message comes in pretty much every time about how most of my clients are women, how we've incarnated to balance out the energy. And what is so beautiful about what you're doing is that there's a lot of women still, like in corporate, executives, etc., that maybe they haven't fully awoken up yet to their soul's calling, or to their mission and purpose. And so you've been led into this. This is coming in right now, is why I'm sharing this. You've been led. You came here with a mission and purpose to empower women, and your unique modality of doing that is kind of coming in the back door for some of these women to help them tune back into intuition that's been lost for centuries through something that's important for them in their life, right? So it's like, maybe these women won't for the next 5 or 10 or 20 years normally have, maybe necessarily sought out other modalities, finding out what their purpose and mission is through astrology or through channeling, etc. You're doing it in such a beautiful, unique way. It's almost like sneaky coming in, being like, let me teach you how to not only empower yourself through dressing a lot, creating a wardrobe that's aligned to you, but finding out who that is, who is that, and what is your intuition telling you. And some of these women, many of them, I want to plug in here in a second and channel this for you. Something's coming in. So many of these women, this is the way that they're going to get the first taste of their mission and purpose here, is through this aligned style collective venture of yours, which is so unique and so powerful, especially when, I want to highlight you're also illuminating. What a beautiful word. It's your word. Illuminating.
Well, it's not, I don't own it, but
well,
I do use it a lot.
It's a beautiful word you use a lot. You're illuminating female founded brands, which again, it layers on the empowerment, right? Yeah. So you're empowering women through helping them align to their intuition through wardrobe. And then you're supporting women founded brands to further empower women. And there is an energetic power there. This isn't just something that's happening in the third dimension. What this is doing is it's raising the vibration of the feminine overall. And it's so important, because my guides tell me this quite a bit. Right now, and for like the last several decades, there has been a movement, like I said, to bring in feminine energy. And as us women, instead of, we've been taught to compete with each other, we've been taught to compete for the one place at the table, at corporate. Instead of doing that, and instead empowering each other, it literally creates an energetic movement. It raises the vibration of the planet, and everybody benefits, men and women, from this. So it's like multi-layered here, what you're doing. It's really, really beautiful. Let me just see. I just want to see. I'm gonna just channel really quick. This is so different. I haven't.
I'm gonna stand up and turn the lights on in here because I'm in the northern hemisphere. The sun is going down and it's cold.
Well, they're saying, I said, is there anything, since I've already been sharing what they're telling me, this is all that I just said, the energetics and stuff of what you're doing is not me. I was channeling that. But I said, is there anything specific that to tell Allie right now? And they said, be bold, go bold, like go big, because this is, okay, hold on. So they're wanting me to repeat this. So each of us women who have been aligned to create, businesses, many of us have left corporate jobs, you included. Most women I've met in the last few years, divinely orchestrated, I've met these women who have left corporate jobs, and they're creating businesses that they came here to do. And most people start out in an industry where they're going to leave that industry and create a business that's sort of aligned to that. They're bringing what they've learned into their new world, and that was by design, right? It's like, my guides call it, we got our prerequisites, and then it was time to leave corporate and now create the new world based on what we learned. Just like you get out of school, you get out of college, and then you get a job. That's kind of what they tell us what we're doing.
Yeah.
And they're saying again that each of us that are being guided to create our businesses have our own little niche, right? My niche seems to be right now helping businesses and corporations heal and thrive and grow in a healthy way, putting people first, and helping entrepreneurs really align their mission with their business with their mission and purpose. Like when I channeled for you, when my guides shared the 4 pillars, and you said that was collapsing like several years of time.
Yeah.
What I'm doing is they're showing me what you had already planned for yourself. They're showing me where you plan to be in 5 years and saying, all right, this is where she's going, and we're calling that in to start that now.
Yeah.
But your unique niche, we all have our own unique niche, they're saying, and again, your niche is so, actually gives me tears, because I can feel I'm getting teary-eyed, because I can feel the weight of the importance of your mission. You're being called to target a niche that, again, they said this before, might not be aligning to their spirituality or their soul's purpose or mission in any other way. They might not be doing that. And you're touching a part of the collective that other women that are being called out to create businesses, they wouldn't be aligned to, they wouldn't feel drawn to. And so this creation, this what you've been brought and drawn to create, this business aligned style collective, is so important, because you've been given a really large population of women that you're responsible for. They're saying, basically, you're like, I'll take that responsibility. Yep. Bring me down there, getting into fashion. Like, let's just go take this from another angle. And they're saying this is such a big responsibility, because women that are in corporate and executives, and all the 4 pillars that you've drilled down to are so needed in helping to assist the raise the vibration of the planet. Yeah. And in order to do that, we need a unique way of getting in to influencing them and helping them align with their intuition. And that's what you're doing, which is, it's huge, Allie, because there's channelers, and there's astrologers, and there's human design, and there's business coaches, and there's, relationship coaches. what you're doing is so unique and targeting such a unique part and niche of the collective that it's like nobody else can get in that door. That door is your door.
That's the fashion door. That's the wardrobe door. Yeah, I mean, it is. I have seen so many women transform over, you know, the years that I've been doing wardrobe consulting, and just the amount of confidence and beauty and transformation that they're not the same people as they were before the process starts. And it's that's been the influence for me, really. It's like, how do I take that and bottle it up, like, and give it to people in a form of education,
right?
Because that higher vibration, that sort of like empowered woman, newly empowered woman, has, you know, no limits. But it's like starting that conversation for women who aren't listening to their intuition yet, and doing fashion just happens to be in my wheelhouse, but also the transformative nature of fashion and the amount of creativity that women can really harness to get to a place where they understand what it is that really lights them up.
Yep.
I think once you know what lights you up, you have that full body hell yes as your litmus test. You use it all the time. That is the thing. That's the value, is that you really can take that and use it in all areas of life, but in shopping in particular. Like, even if it's just using it for your wardrobe and kind of building your intuition, and maybe it translates into full body hell yeses when it comes to relationships or something. But it's all these little baby steps toward authentic self-expression. And authentic self-expression, I believe, is one of the most empowering moments that we have, whether it's with your wardrobe or your word or being seen. You know, being witnessed is so beautiful. That can be really challenging for women. We've a really long time, and so it becomes, it becomes a real opportunity, and it just feels a little bit easier if you're on stage and you're doing a TED Talk, etc., and you like your outfit. Like, it's just it does help. It really does. So whatever that is, like, I remember being very young and being told that fashion was shallow, and I am now proud to say that I feel like I have turned that on its head, and have found a way to approach fashion that really is about personal, like, self-growth and authentic self-expression. So
I mean, it's so funny because people, I have heard that too, caring about fashion is superficial. It's another indoctrinated belief system. If it was superficial, we'd all be wearing potato sacks every day, but it's not, because people care. And if it was superficial, there wouldn't be, dress codes in corporate environments. So it's obviously not superficial, but we do get told that. And as women, again, for hundreds and thousands of years, we've been taught to be quiet. We've been taught to be, speak up and not too loud. Make sure that what you're sharing or contributing goes along with the grain, and that gets reflected in our wardrobe. That gets reflected in our clothing. I remember working in banks. I would go to seminars. I would conduct trainings, and there'd be 100 people or hundreds of people at these seminars, and they all just look a little bit different from each other. They're all pretty much the same, right? And so there's all these little robot clones walking around, and the people though that were uniquely dressed, and you could tell that their personality was being reflected externally. They shone brighter. They were much more confident. There wasn't many. It was a very small percentage of people, and that's because when we're being quieted or we're being told to conform through our wardrobe, it has an impact all the way through externally. Externally all the way internally. So it's if I guess you could call it superficial if it's a visual thing it's a visual thing, but it's so empowering to be able to show up authentically through how people see you. It's like your fingerprint, right? It's like unique to you, and then you're also feeling empowered, and you can show up to whatever it is that you're doing as yourself.
Yeah.
And that's like the important thing that comes in a lot too when I'm channeling for people, is that we hear this across society sometimes, but I really get to see it and feel it when I'm channeling, which is you know we're all here for we're all very unique. There's never been anyone that's ever existed, and there will never be anyone ever again that exists that has our unique childhood trauma experiences, relationships, passions, mission, all that. And if we're not being honest with that, if we're not being authentic with what we came here to do and who we are and our uniqueness, then we're not doing what we came here to do. Yeah. We're not shining in the way we're here to shine when we're looking to everyone else and doing what everyone else does. And the easiest and most obvious way to do that is visually through your wardrobe.
Yeah. Yeah, it truly is. And it's funny that, I kind of use that analogy with frequency. Okay. You guys.
Hi, Lauren.
All the dogs. I use that analogy sometimes when it comes to wardrobes, because everybody's wardrobe is unique as their fingerprint. And so to have external influences telling you what you should be buying based on what your wardrobe is, as unique as it is already, it's a recipe for many sort of things to go wrong. So part of the reason that authentic self-expression and intuitive style is so important, I believe, is that you get to build your wardrobe from a place that feels really good to you. So then your wardrobe automatically will reflect and feel really good to you. And when we're listening to too many outside opinions, or there's too much that's influencing those purchases, that's where we get into like that sort of gray area of not feeling very inspired by our wardrobe. So there's so much value, there's so much like hidden value to really listening to yourself and feeling your way through your wardrobe. And what will result is not only a wardrobe that sparks joy, but sparks so much confidence that like you really, there's nowhere to go but up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just have to say this because this keeps coming in over and over and over. It's so weird. When I'm channeling, it's like I have this conversation happening up here, and then I'm also, having a conversation with you. But this keeps coming in, is that also what you're doing is as you're teaching these women in this very unique niche, and they want to say again, my guides want to say again, that this is a niche. A lot of the women that you work with are in a place where they might not be exposed to other type of get in touch with your intuition modalities, right? Yeah. So that's why this is the back door. But what you're also doing is teaching women, as you're teaching women to empower themselves through their wardrobe and teaching them tools through your courses and the one-on-one containers you have, you're also helping them to teach their own children, right? Yeah. So like education is one of the 4 pillars that my guides keep saying is massively imploding right now. Yeah. It's not sustainable, it's not intuitive, it's very indoctrinated. And so as we send our kids to school and they spend the majority of their time with other people teaching them whatever it is they're teaching them, one way that we can start teaching children how to be in tune with their intuition is through expressing themselves through dress, right? Yeah. And so you're helping these women who have families once they learn this this beautiful gift that you're sharing, once they learn how to through teaching them to create an intuitive wardrobe, it's something that is an easily teachable thing to the next generation. And then they can teach their kids to show up in these places of, we're creating, we're all learning all the little same things in school, whether or not it's what we should be learning. They get to show up authentically in some way. And so you're teaching people to teach their children, which is so beautiful.
Which I love. And there's also this hidden value as well when it comes to, if you're teaching your children intuitive style, you can also have the conversation with them about conscious purchasing. And I think as a child of the 80s, nobody talked to us about plastic consumption or, whatever it was. And having the knowledge to be able to pass down to your children to purchase from a place of intention and be really mindful about, the impact that your purchases are having on the world as well. That's another sort of like hidden value to intuitive style, is you'll purchase less because you'll know what works for you. And there's far fewer opportunities to make those impulse purchases or sort of like feel misaligned with your wardrobe. So volume will likely go down too. And so I think that there's so much value. I mean, I teach my son, he's 12. He gets to do whatever he wants from an intuitive style standpoint. And he tries all sorts of things, and it's beautiful. And it feels really good to be able to say to him, to be able to support him in that way, and to, really champion him in his authentic self-expression as well. So yeah, I mean, it's really beautiful. It truly is. I have some friends who live in New York whose daughters started to purchase from a manufacturer that is not known to be very good to the planet, and so we've started to have conversations with them as they come into their own when it comes to spending power, and like, what do we do with the money that we have, like, and what are we selecting, and how are we thinking about this?
So cool.
I want to ask you, there's another something trying to come in, so I'm going to check in on that, but also so I'm going to do that, but while I'm doing that, I'd love for you to think about, and then we can end on that, end on this next piece. What, either an example of a client you've worked with that you just saw through the process of teaching them these beautiful tools, that how she showed up before and then how she showed up after. I'd love either example of that or what lights you up most about this work. So I'm gonna check in really quick here, because they're trying to bring something out. So let me just check on that, and then I'll be back for you to share the story.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't remember if this came up before, but so when I channel, for everybody watching now and later, when I channel, they show me movies, they show me things in movies, and then I get a stamp of information, and I can see a whole bunch of information in my mind, and also this stamp that I get in my solar plexus or heart. I can see a whole bunch in a split second. Sometimes it's too much, and I have to have them slow down and break out the pieces. But what they just shared with me in those couple of seconds was they wanted me to remind you. So I remember a little bit, but tell me if you remember this, that you've done this before. They showed me a lifetime that you've had where you were really, they're showing you like dressed very well, and you're picking out fabrics. You're like feeling textures of fabrics, and you're picking out tones and like textures. And so they're saying this beautiful calling that you have in this lifetime, part of the reason why you said, it's coming right now. So part of the reason why you said, this is going to be my niche in this lifetime, is because you have done this before and were very, very successful in it looks like several hundred years ago, but you were very, very knowledgeable, and people came to you for help with choosing, again, the best fabrics, the best colors, the best type of design for them. So this has happened before. It just looks different in this lifetime. So and usually, like I've seen, and I've been told, and I've been shown that I have done this before. So I have been in lifetimes where I've been like the medicine woman like the shaman for the tribes and things like that. So it just looks different in this lifetime, but we're bringing in the gifts from other lifetimes that we've been really passionate about. We're just doing it in a modern environment. So there's a lot of power. There's a lot of power in that, because there's lifetimes of this that you're bringing into this one. So it's so cool.
That's so cool. No, you didn't. When we didn't cover that on our channeling session, so that's really cool. It explains a lot, because I'm always drawn to fabrics, and I have done interior design as well as fashion in this lifetime, and so I'm always drawn to that. There's always like the threads that weave through really beautiful fabrics. I always really want to get up close and look at those. So. This is that. I mean, that's so fun.
they're showing you like touching and really looking at and touching like velvets and like silks. It looks like really yummy, delicious looking fabrics. It's like there's some type of, what they're showing me is there's like some type of market or environment where there's multiple people selling their wares and you're out there to choose the best of them. So it's something you brought in with you. Yeah, it's really cool.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, that feels good. That feels like a further confirmation that I'm moving the correct path for myself. And
not an accident. This isn't just out of the blue. This is totally planned. So I would love for you to share with everybody before we wrap up, you know, what lights you up? Is there an example you can share of someone?
What came to me initially when you asked, I'm just going to use that one, is I have a client, and this is a one-on-one client. So not somebody who's taken intuitive style maven, but I used this particular client as one of my muses when I was writing the course, because she was, you know, somebody who came from a very corporate background, banking, and was shifting into a role that was a little bit more creative. So she had a little bit more bandwidth in terms of what she was allowed to wear. And she was describing herself pre-pandemic. We were supposed to work together like right as the pandemic hit, and then we put it on pause because she didn't need anything. But in that conversation, I just remember laughing like hysterically at the way that she was describing her experience of her wardrobe and how just dismal and disastrous it was. But she had such a great sense of humor about it. And she, you know, in the beginning of the process of working with these clients, what I typically will do is have them start to aggregate some inspiration images to give me a visual understanding of kind of like the direction they want to go in. And then I take those and expand them and sort of weave through all of the necessary conversations when it comes to brand or trend direction or whatever the case may be. And she had sent me a Pinterest that had like 3 pictures on it. And she was like, I'm not even doing this. Like, I don't even know what to say. But the pictures had what I considered an overarching theme of like elevated basics. And I took that and used it as our jump off point. And she, you know, the new role that she was in was a much higher level role than she had been in the corporate banking world. So she really needed to be the most powerful woman in the room that she was walking into. And she felt like the wardrobe update could be that for her. And she has been my client for a year and a half. We're going on, you know, our 3rd season of working together. And she is so assured now of what she likes. So it was like just this very specific conversation around how to get her to see that she actually intuitively knew that she could dress herself in a way that she felt really good about. And it was about taking that information and kind of like turning the crystal a little bit, looking at a couple more facets, and then delivering the product and the brands that really worked for her. And now she's like a wardrobe rock star. And she does, you know, walk in like the most powerful woman in the room, and it's beautiful. And she's the loveliest soul. Like if I ever have a boss in the field that she works in, I want it to be her. She's just really, and she's a very powerful manager, and she is the type of manager who you would want in a corporate setting. She's very much an empowered, like empathetic, compassionate, intuitive manager. So helping her sort of uncover her style for me is the thing. That's the story that came up when you asked. Today.
That's so beautiful, and I can just feel the empowerment. It's like when she was obviously hired, and this is a common story, right? She was hired for a reason, but being able to show up and feel good about what you look like and your wardrobe, it up levels your what's the word, commanding the room, right? It up levels the ability to command the room, because when you feel confident about yourself and you feel good about yourself, it opens yourself up to be seen. You're empowered to be seen more, versus we've all been there where we don't feel really good. Maybe we don't speak up as much then. Maybe we don't show up quite as much, versus when you feel good, you show up. And so if she's going to need to command presence, now her resume matches what you see, which like just explodes empowerment.
And that's exactly how it landed. And it was, yeah, beautiful.
So cool.
So it's like my dream would be to give that to everybody, to teach each woman who is available or interested or feeling the call to lean into intuitive style. I mean, the intuitive style Maven course is like it's like a step-by-step guide to how to harness that for yourself. And once you have the skill set, you have it for the rest of your life, and can kids, all of that. So it really is just like another way to make your life easier and also feel a lot better. So it's good stuff. Yeah. If I could teach each person that I come across on the street and, as I'm going in New York City, et cetera, how to do that, that would be the goal.
Yep.
But
and that's how you're living your mission and purpose, because it lights you up, right?
It does. Yeah. I could talk about the Aligned Style Method and Intuitive Style Maven and all of the concepts that I came up with this year ad nauseum.
Yeah.
Right.
Me too. I'm like, oh, here's my pedestal. It's a topic that I'm passionate about, so I'm going to get on it, and it's tough to stop. So where share with everybody, where can people find more information about these courses and working with you?
Yeah, so Aligned Style Collective is my Instagram handle, and there's a link in my bio that has all of the offerings listed, and you can just click on the offerings and see what each thing is. And it's 2 courses so far. There probably will be a 3rd course launching in the spring, but I'm just getting the feelers out on that to see which direction I want to take it in. But there's also a fun purchasing persona quiz that's in the link in the bio for anybody who has some challenges with impulse purchasing or doesn't feel confident shopping. They can take that quiz and see what their purchasing persona archetype is, because that quiz will give you a specific archetype, but also some tools or some strategies as you're moving forward with shopping to use for yourself in that archetype way.
Cool.
So,
I love it.
Good stuff.
Well, thank you so much. I love this conversation. I could talk to you for hours about all this stuff. So you are on a beautiful mission. You have such a beautiful, you're just a beautiful soul, but you're here with a huge mission, and your niche of the collective is such an important niche, and what you're doing is so unique and so powerful. And I just thank you for sticking to your mission and purpose for the greater good of all of us.
I'm doing my absolute best, and that's all I can do. So I appreciate you taking time out to talk to me today.
Of course.
I'm always telling everybody, the best channeler in the business.
I'm just the conduit. I always say, but I don't know why it took me so long to get to this point where I started channeling. This came out of the blue, but I know I'm on my mission. I'm aligned with my life path because it lights me up, and that's the key for anyone out there. If you want to know if you're on the right path, if you're here doing what you came here to do, if you're lit up every day, then you're doing what you came to do. And if you're not lit up, then I'm happy to channel your mission and purpose for you and help align it to that. All right. Well, so good talking to you, Ali. I'll talk to you soon. And thank you all who was here listening, and for all of you who are listening in the future.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.